Review, and today I'm going to be doing a review on this, which is the second Doctor story, The Mind Robber. Now, this was requested by Matthew Walters, I think his name is, so thank you very much for the request. So, like I said before, keep sending those requests in. I'll love to do more reviews, because at the moment I'm sort of doing review for each Doctor, if you will, probably mainly from the classic series, because there's DVDs covering each story, much unlike the volumes. So yeah, without any further ado, let's take a look start by taking a look at the cover of the DVD. Now, it's actually quite a nice cover. Again, much like the Dalek Invasion of Earth, it's actually one of my favourite covers because it's quite different, and I think it's quite simplistic in a way, because there's not much going on in the cover, and like some of the covers you get nowadays, where there's quite a few characters and stuff on there. So of course, it's very red, very orangey red kind of thing. And what's interesting about this cover is that you've got the TARDIS exploding in the middle. Now, one of the things that I've always wondered about the story is, if the TARDIS exploded in the Big Bang destroyed the universe, then why didn't it destroy the universe in this story? But it's just one of those things. But probably never get explained. But so that's the front. With a nice red banner at the bottom. The spine, it's quite nice. A bit of red showing there. And again, much like previously, this is a pre-to-entertain release. So yeah, there's no pre-to-entertain logo there. And then, of course, you've got some really weird filtered images. I don't know why they're filtered that way. It's probably trying to look like the sort of colour scheme that was on the front cover. Then you've got the blurb, and you've got special features. And then once we go through that, I'll show you the inside, and then I'll pretty much give you my thoughts on the story. So, the blurb is, escaping from a volcanic eruption on the planet Dulcis, the Doctor is forced to use the TARDIS emergency unit, which takes the craft out of normal time and space, and out of reality itself. The time travellers arrive in a mysterious world, peopled by fictional characters, Gulliver and Rapunzel, and the Artinigan and Sir Lancelot, but also by creatures from mankind's worst imaginings. So it's quite an interesting little blurb that I think that will probably capture the person who's looking at the DVD and thinking that looks quite interesting in the shop. So yeah, it's quite a well sort of written blurb. And then you've got the special features. I'll try and allow you to pause that. I have got a bit of a cold at the moment, so if you ever hear me sniff a couple of times, then I apologise about that. It's just hay fever is really getting me down at the moment, but I wanted to try and get this review out of the way. This story is written by Peter Ling, and if we open up, you can see the booklet in there, and this is when the DVDs were starting to become a lot better, I should say. That's the inside, and now for my thoughts and opinions on The Mind Robber. It's a 5-part story, and I'd say one of the problems I have with it is that I think the last 2 episodes are a bit sort of over the top and a bit ridiculous, but they're still really enjoyable. There are some really ridiculous fight scenes between one of the fictional characters and Zoe, and it's pretty unrealistic, to be honest. But other than that, it's a really, I'd say, quite light-hearted story. It gets quite dark towards the end, and there's a brilliant battle between the Master of the Land of Fiction. It's not the Master from Roger Delgado and all that. It's a different Master. It's the Master of the Land of Fiction, like I just said. It's basically a battle of wits, and they're basically telling stories to try and save. And the Doctor's trying to save Jamie and Zoe by using stories, basically. And, of course, as you can see in the front cover, there's the Clockwork Soldiers, and there's lots of really imaginative sort of designs for the fictional characters. There's Medusa in there, and she is quite menacing in one of the cliffhangers. and of course there's a unicorn, which is another cliffhanger. And yeah, it's just a really good story. And although I'd say the first, well, the cliffhanger which the unicorn appears. I remember watching that for the first time and being quite sort of scared by that, because obviously it wasn't until the episode later until the Doctor says, it's not real. It's just say to yourself, it's not actually happening. And of course, during episodes 2 and 3, Fraser Hines, who plays Jamie in the story, he of course contracted chickenpox, which was a bit unfortunate. So they actually got another actor in to fill in the role, and it's quite clever how they interpreted that sort of change. That the explanation as to how they had to change the actor. It sort of adds a bit more to the story, really, to the fictional world. And he's played by Hamish Wilson, who is the father of Daughter of Mine from Human Nature and Family of Blood. So if you didn't know that, I hope that sort of gave you a little bit of a shock or whatever. So yeah, he's the father of Daughter of Mine. I can't remember what her name. I think it's Lauren Wilson, who plays Daughter of Mine, who I actually met at a convention a few years ago, and he was there as well, so that was cool, but I didn't get an autograph from him. But yeah, he's pretty cool, and I think he did a good job as Jamie. It doesn't seem to get any complaints, I don't think, because this is quite a popular story anyway. And yeah, it's one of those weird 5-part stories. Like I think the Daemons was 5 parts, I think. But yeah, I can't remember too many of the 5-part story, though, because there weren't that many, I don't think. And one of the actors who appeared in this is Bernard Horsforth, who is a brilliant actor and one of the best actors to ever appear in Doctor Who. And he's played quite a few other famous roles. He played Chancellor Gough in The Deadly Assassin. He played one of the Time Lords in The End of the War Games, who basically exiled the second Doctor, to Earth, and he plays one of the Thals, I think, in Planet of the Daleks. So yeah, it's been quite a few Doctor Who stories, really good Doctor Who stories, and here he plays Sir Lancelot, I think, and yeah, he does a fantastic job of, because he's just got a really great voice, and he every time I see him, I always love the character that he's playing. I think he does such a good job of it. Maybe not. I mean, he did a great job of the Time Lord at the end of the War Games, and here again he's fantastic, and he's just a really great actor for Doctor Who, I think. And Patrick Troughton gives a fantastic performance. I think the actor who played the person who at the end who was being controlled by the sort of entity that was sort of the master of the London fiction, he did a great job. But he's quite creepy, actually. That character is quite a creepy character, and I think the costumes for like the robots in the story were great, even if they do look a bit ridiculous and not exactly menacing. But I think the sound that they make, it's quite disturbing, like because they're going to be around the corner. So yeah, if I had to give this story a rating, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good story, and I think if you're wanting to get into the second Doctor, I think this would be a pretty good jumping on point, because I think the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, are a pretty good TARDIS team, and yeah, it's one of the great Patrick Troughton stories, and I'm glad this one exists, because I think there are some people that find the story a little bit overrated, but even so, it's a really enjoyable story and really nice cover design for this DVD. And if you haven't got it for your collection, then I would highly recommend that you go and pick it up. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'm not sure what my next review is going to be, but it might be a review of the original release for Spearhead from Space. But if you've got any other sort of DVDs you want me to review, then please comment down in the section below. So yes, thanks for watching, and goodbye.